Do. Give you guys a couple seconds to get into the chat. How we doing tonight, guys? Monday night. Here we are again. Someone let me know that you guys can hear me as we get all set, ready to rock and roll with another Monday Night Raw review. You guys hear me in the chat? All right, thank you, Casey. Casey's always the first one in here. Funny. Anyway, hold up. Damn, I'm itching like crazy. I went camping this weekend. I got a bunch of mosquito bites, and they're all over like my legs. Even though I wore sweats, all over my legs, just full mosquito bites everywhere. Like holy moly. Anyway, enough about me and my problems. Let's get into Raw, man. I got a good amount to say about this show tonight, but let's get into it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzbunk TV here, aka G133. I am back here tonight with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for September 20th, 2021. Hopefully you guys had a good day. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend, man. I want to first off and apologize for I hate apologizing. I hate how I'm doing this on a normal routine now. I was not able to get the SmackDown review. And for those of you guys know if I had to make a choice, I would rather do SmackDown reviews than Raw reviews, if I'm being 100% honest. Because I find SmackDown to be more enjoyable than Raw on most nights. And the last couple weeks, I have not been able to get out, weekly podcast just because I'm just super busy, So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a SmackDown review for you guys. I'm gonna try to do better, and also I wanted to get an AEW Dynamite review because this is kind of good transition into Raw. I sat, and this is the first time since the first AEW Dynamite. The first Dynamite, I think, was, close to 2 years ago? This was the first time that I've watched a full AEW Dynamite show since the first AEW Dynamite. And the thing about it is, I keep up with AEW every week before, and I kept up with the show, watch highlights on YouTube. I would sometimes maybe watch 30 minutes to an hour of Dynamite. But this was the first time that I sat and watched a full episode of Dynamite in 2 years, basically. And I enjoyed almost every single minute of those 2 hours. The show flew by, and I was invested in almost everything. And they fit a lot into those 2 hours. Trust me, it's a 2-hour show, but they put a lot of segments in there. It's kind of like Raw and SmackDown, where it is a lot of content that they throw at you, but it didn't feel to the point where it was overwhelming or anything like that. It was actually really enjoyable. They were setting up for the big AEW Dynamite Grand Slam this week. Right, on Wednesday. It's basically AEW's doing a pay-per-view on TV this week. They got huge championship matches, big matches. CM Punk's going to be having his first TV match in 7 years on Rampage. I believe they're doing a tag team championship match. You have Ruby Soho, formerly known as Ruby Riott, of course. Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship. They're doing MJF versus Brian Pillman. They're doing the Inner Circle versus this other funny ass faction that I saw. They're also doing, which is probably the biggest match in all of wrestling this week. They're doing Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, which is a dream match for so many people. Even though it's not for the AEW World Championship, it's still a huge, huge, huge dream match. And, that's going to be main eventing Dynamite on Wednesday. So that's going to be absolutely out of this world. So I'm really hyped for that. And now I'm getting fully invested into AEW. I'm trying to learn more of the characters. I'm trying to learn more of the storylines. And it's just night and day with AEW and the WWE product. The differences are absolutely insane. Insane how fast Dynamite goes by, how enjoyable the show is, how most things make sense. They even have Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes in their rematch. Everything is just really enjoyable about AEW. And creatively, they're just so much better than WWE. And WWE, especially with Raw tonight, it's just they're just desperate to respond to anything AEW does, and it shouldn't be that way. WWE is supposed to be number one. WWE has way too much talent to be trying to respond to AEW in the desperate ways that they did. Tonight was a 100% a prime example of that. You gave away two pay-per-view level matches. And both those matches really didn't make any sense. Especially when it comes to the superstars that were in those matches. Right? And all you're doing is to generate ratings. And then you have dumbasses on Twitter who you talk about how this was a good show. And I'm not saying that this show sucked tonight, right? I'm not saying that. There are things that I liked about Raw tonight, and there's a lot of things that I hate. And of course, we'll go over them like we always do. But especially for a casual, they're just gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. This is amazing, man!" And then you get that triple threat match to end the show. You get that really good 6-man tag team match to open the show, and people are just losing their minds. I'm just like, why? Do you really not see what's going on here? Do you really not understand what's happening in front of you? This is all Vince being desperate. This shows why Vince should not be in power anymore when it comes to creative. He'll do anything. They're just legit taking whatever shit that they can find and they're throwing it at the wall hoping that it sticks. That's all this is at the end of the day, really. And if you don't realize that, and if you don't realize what WWE is doing, you're just either a casual and you're too young to understand, or you're just dumb. You're just dumb. Really, you had Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw. First off, that's the first thing. You bring Roman Reigns, the number one guy in the company right now, right? One of the only people that's booked correctly. And, he's been on this huge run over the last year. You bring him over to Monday Night Raw, one, because you want to try to get ratings, right? You have your top man on SmackDown, so you're hoping to take some of that star power from SmackDown with the number one guy, bring him back to Monday Night Raw to see if it's going to pop a rating, right? See how it's going to do. I heard reports early in the day that WWE was going to be closely paying attention to the ratings of this show because if they did well, this could be a new thing. WWE bringing more superstars from separate brands over to other shows. Basically, it would be similar to what we've seen in the past with though I think it was the wild card rule, right? Things of that nature. Even though I have a solution to WWE's brand split problem because we're having the draft here in a couple of weeks and the rosters are going to get shaken up again. But I have a solution of how WWE can do a brand split, right, and still kind of not have a brand split. It's a little confusing, but I might make an extra video on this. Like this video right now, like the stream, and put in the comment section if you guys wanted me to do that video. Because it's something I thought about for a lot of the day today. I really do think it would be a good way for WWE to end their brand split and not end it at the same time. And you could have superstars float on both shows, and I think it would work. Because I'm seeing how AEW is doing it, and I'm like, there's no reason why WWE can't do this as well, especially with as much talent as they have. The brand split should not be that difficult for them to master, But, that's a separate video. I don't want to talk about it now because, I could easily make a 30, 40 podcast extra video on that. But, here's the thing. You bring Roman Reigns over, right, because you want to spark a rating, right? That's one. So then you have the Bloodline versus the New Day, a match that everybody's been waiting to see, right? You have two of the most dominant factions in WWE history. You have the Usos and the New Day. You know the history between those teams. They've had some of the best tag team matches in the history of WWE's tag team division. Their chemistry is unmatched. You have Roman Reigns, who's the number one guy in the company right now, huge big megastar. Who's on this amazing run. You have Big E, who just became WWE champion. And even we can complain how it was rushed and how it was out of desperation. We can talk about that all we want. But at the end of the day, Big E is WWE champion. And that's just the way it's going to be. All right? So you have this huge 6-man tag team match that you easily could have saved for Survivor Series. You could have easily done this as Survivor Series. But you decided to throw a big pay-per-view level match on Raw. Makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Because you just want to spark a rating. And mind you, this is Big E's, really, his first match on Monday Night Raw as WWE Champion. He did have that match on SmackDown, which didn't make sense. Because you had Big E and Finn Balor versus the Usos, where Big E and Finn Balor won. The Usos shouldn't be losing to anybody. They're the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Finn Balor and Big E should not be losing. Big E just won the WWE Championship. Finn Balor has a Universal Championship match at Extreme Rules. Those two should not be losing. Why would you make that match when you know that both sides should not be losing? Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. And then you have this match where, this is a pay-per-view level match that you're just doing on Monday Night Raw just to spark a rating. Right? Okay. And we'll talk about the specifics of the match in a little bit. But you have Roman Reigns pin the New Day. Right? Pin Xavier Woods, which made the most sense. Because, Big E, nobody on... It made sense for the Bloodline to win this match. Of course. Even though Big E's the WWE champion, New Day, they don't have the belts. Right, so it made sense that someone not holding a championship would take the pinfall here. Made sense, okay? So then you see you have this crazy brawl with Bobby Lashley, right? And it makes sense because Lashley's still enraged about losing his WWE Championship last week to Big E. He comes out, he's spearing everybody. He's spearing the WWE Champion. He's spearing the Universal Champion. And then later you have all three. You have Bobby Lashley and Big E separately go to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, talking about how they want to destroy each other. Then you have Paul Heyman coming in on behalf of Roman Reigns, and then you set up a triple threat match for the main event of Raw. Because at first you look at the New Day and the Bloodline, and you're like, and I tweeted this out. Why the fuck is this not your main event? Why is this not the main event of Monday Night Raw? It makes no sense. And then you look at it, you're like, oh, that's why. Because WWE already had it planned that they were going to do this as their main event. Bobby Lashley, Big E, and Roman Reigns. Another big match that you're giving away on free television on Monday Night Raw. And what doesn't make any sense about it is all three men should not be losing. Roman Reigns, of course, should not be losing. He hasn't been pinned in well over a year. Big E just won the WWE Championship. He should not be losing. And then Bobby Lashley, who he hadn't lost all year before losing his WWE Championship via cash-in. And remember, Lashley's still the number one contender for Big E's WWE Championship. So he should not be losing if he's still going after the championship and he's the number one contender. So you do this triple threat match, and yes, it was great. It was a fantastic triple threat match. We all knew it would be great. But then you have Roman pin Bobby Lashley. He pins Bobby Lashley. Of course, Lashley made sense, or not made sense. Lashley was going to be the guy to take the pin because he's the one that's not holding a championship at the moment. So he was the most likely to get pinned here. And then Roman pins Big E, who's the top champion on Monday Night Raw. Remember that. Big E is the top champion on Monday Night Raw. But you have Roman Reigns, a guy from SmackDown, come in and then beat Bobby Lashley and Big E in the triple threat match. But even though Biggie didn't get pinned, right? Casual will say, "Oh, did Biggie really lose? He didn't get pinned. He lost." Simple as that. There's only one winner in a triple threat match. Roman Reigns won. Lashley and Biggie both lost, even though Lashley got pinned. It's that simple. Does that make any sense? Sure, Roman Reigns is not going to lose. We get that. But what was the sense of making this match? What was the sense? What was the point of making this match? If you knew that you were none of these three men really shouldn't be losing. It's a desperate attempt at ratings. That's what it is. That's the point we're trying to get to you. It's desperation. I don't care how great the match was. I enjoyed the match. I'm telling you that. But when you look at this from a storyline perspective and the characters involved, it doesn't make sense for this to be taking place. Come on. If this was Survivor Series, that's one thing, because that's the only place where these matches should be happening. Not on Monday Night Raw, not on SmackDown. You can't be doing that. It's desperation. You're just trying to spark a rating. You're just trying to stay relevant because you see how great AEW is doing right now and how they're slowly catching up to you in the ratings. Right? Every week they become a 1.1, a 1.2, slowly getting to 1.3. And in due time, if AEW continues on the road they're going to catch up to you. Because you're just being desperate. You're throwing away pay-per-view level matches. You're putting them on Monday Night Raw just to spark a rating when they don't make any sense storyline perspective. Big E should not be losing at all, especially on his show when he's the top champion. And then Roman Reigns, you bring Roman Reigns over. We complain about Roman Reigns, and yes, Roman's great, right? But Roman Reigns, he's already destroyed almost everybody on SmackDown. Everybody on SmackDown he's beat. Now you have him coming over the Monday Night Raw and doing the same thing. Like, seriously, who's going to be left? Who's going to be viable to actually take that title from Roman? You're not doing a good job right now. You're not setting anybody up to beat Roman. And now you have Roman coming over the Raw and beating Raw guys. Come on. I understand Roman's great, but they overdo it. They're overdoing it. You can't have him coming over the Raw and then just beating the Raw roster. You shouldn't have done the match at all. Period. I knew the second they announced the triple threat, I'm just like, Roman's gonna pin Big E. There's no way Roman's lose. No, Roman's not taking the pin, and he's not losing when he hasn't technically lost a match in over a year. Right? And as much as you want to see Big E get the win, right? They're probably saving Big E versus Bobby Lashley for Extreme Rules. And there's no way Big E's pinning Roman. So it's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing, guys? Come on. It's desperation. And if you can't see that at this point, you are just blind. It's blind. People are just like, why can't you just enjoy the show for what it is, man? Why can't you just say this was a good episode of Monday Night Raw? Because you have to take everything into account. We have a pay-per-view on Sunday, people. We have a pay-per-view on Sunday, people. We have a brand split in the next couple weeks. We have a draft coming up. And all this stuff has to be taken into account. You can't look at a show just for one show because every show is supposed to be part of a build-up to a pay-per-view. It's supposed to be part of a build-up to what's coming next. WWE, they don't have an all-season. They don't get to take breaks. They don't. When you produce content all year long, you have to keep going. So I can't just say this was a good Monday Night Raw because we got great matches and this and that. I got to look at the storylines. I got to look at the characters. I got to look at the directions here. And the direction of what they did tonight, even though it was enjoyable from an in-ring perspective, from a storyline perspective, it doesn't make sense. And it just shows how desperate they are to get ratings. And if you cannot see that, you're blind. There's a reason why I'm here to educate you. You're in the right place. This is where you learn to get educated on wrestling. Come on. I don't want to be negative, but I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I just have to be honest. I'm going to look in this chat real quick. Cause I know I've been going off for a while. Dog says, I'm going to my first AEW show this Wednesday. I am excited. I'm happy for you, man. I'm going to Dynamite. What was it? In Boston, I believe October 29th. What was it? Let me look. I have it on my calendar here. October 27th. October 27th, I'm going to my first AEW show in Boston. Very excited for that. Like I said, I could have easily gone to Monday Night Raw, which was just a couple minutes down the road, last Monday, but I chose not to. It would have been great to kind of see Big E's title win, but look, there's no way I'm paying for a Monday Night Raw show in 2021. Come on. Especially with the way WWE's creative is these days. Fuck no. Get out of here with that nonsense. Look in the chat. Extreme Rules. I saw someone on Twitter, and here's the thing. I talked about this last week. What is Extreme Rules this year? Like, there is not one match with an extreme stipulation. Like, you look at this card, there's not one match with extreme stipulation. The whole point of Extreme Rules is it's supposed to be a night where you get crazy matches. You get crazy no holds barred matches, steel cage matches, right? Chairs matches. It's supposed to be a night where violence is normal. You're supposed to get a bunch of crazy stipulation matches. That's the whole point of Extreme. This year, there's nothing extreme about this show. Nothing. It's someone saw it put it on Twitter. They edited the Extreme Rules logo and they edited it to regular rules. Because there's not one. It's like WWE forgot the whole concept of their pay-per-views. They forgot. There's not one stipulation that has a crazy and I got people talking crap to me about fucking fantasy. Leave me alone. Go to bed. Fuck, man. Anyway, it was it doesn't make sense to me, man. The way this company operates, it does not make sense to me. I say this all the time, but I would just love just for a day or two just to get to sit in on those creative meetings and really see what the hell is going on. Does no one dare think? Does no one happen to think, hey, we have a pay-per-view on Sunday called Extreme Rules, but none of our matches have any extreme stipulations? Did they just give up on the extreme part of Extreme Rules after how bad the horror show was last year? And we all remember how bad that pay-per-view was. Extreme Rules, the horror show, right? When you had that, what was it? The Braun Strowman versus the Bray Wyatt Swamp fight. And then you had the Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins eye for an eye match. Yeah, like, come on. Maybe WWE just forgot, like, hey, we're not gonna do anything extreme this year, right? We're just gonna give it a break. But I don't know. I'm baffled that here we are 6 days from a pay-per-view and we have no stipulations announced for Extreme Rules. Nothing. It's just a normal pay-per-view the way they're going about it. It absolutely shocks me. Anyway, Monday Night Raw tonight. Look, like, the show wasn't awful, but like I said, it just comes off as desperate with the storyline, with the stuff that they're doing with storylines. It really comes off as awful. if you want to end the brand split so badly, if you really want to get superstars on other brands to do all these crazy matchups, because right now I'm seeing right now they're advertising Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns for the WWE draft on WWE draft night, which is 2 weeks away, I believe. Right, 2 weeks away. We have the WWE draft starting. I'm just like, we don't even know what brand Drew McIntyre is going to be on. Even though I would expect him to be put on SmackDown, but we have no idea where Roman Reigns is gonna, or where Drew and Roman are gonna go on the draft. But you're already advertising that match. Look, if you want to end the brand split so badly, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. But the way you're going about it right now makes absolutely zero sense to your product, and it just makes you look desperate. It really makes you look desperate. So we're gonna get into Monday Night Raw today. Like I said, the big thing coming into the show originally was the New Day versus the Bloodline, right? A dream match for many people. You know, two of the most dominant stables and factions in WWE history going at it. And the show started off with Big E. So Big E gave the New Day intro that we haven't seen him say in a very long time, because Big E and the New Day were separated. New Day's been on Raw. Big E's been on SmackDown. And now, since Big E's the WWE champion, even though he's not officially a Raw superstar, since the WWE championship is exclusive to Raw, that technically makes him a Monday Night Raw superstar. And he'll probably get officially drafted to Raw in the WWE draft here in a couple of weeks. But he got a huge pop, right? Huge pop by the crowd, and it was well deserved. Even we can, like I said, even though I don't like how WWE executed Big E's championship victory, look, there's nothing we can do about it now. We have to move forward. But it was good to see Big E get a big pop, man. The guy is one of the most respected in that locker room. He's loved by everyone based on what I hear. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. He definitely deserves to be a top guy for years to come. So Big E came out, and I thought Big E's speech would be a little bit longer, since this has kind of been a long time coming. For years, really. Years have been called, people have been calling for Big E to get a big singles push. So, for him to finally reach the top of the mountain and be WWE champion, I thought they would make this a little bigger of a moment than they did. But still, Big E gave a short speech, really. This wasn't that long. This was less than 5 minutes. He thanked the fans for their response to his title win. He also talked a little bit about Brody Lee. I think, what was the line he said? I think he said, I want to thank everyone here under the heavens. And then he also said he wanted to thank those above in the heavens. Clearly talk about Brody. Because you guys remember, him and Brody were very, very, very close. Him and Brody Lee were very close. And when he passed away last year, we saw how much AEW did to give him tribute. But Big E was very emotional on social media and shedding light on their relationship and how close they were. So that was really cool to see. And then they talked about the business with the Bloodline, right? Kofi and Xavier really didn't say much. This was just mainly Big E talking for a couple minutes. I wish they had made it a little bit longer, right? I would love to see Big E talk about his journey to actually getting to the WWE Championship, right? And stuff, along his career. So just some of the moments from being with AJ and Dolph, right? And some of those storylines, to eventually how the New Day almost failed, to them becoming one of the best tag teams in recent memory. I would love Big E to spend a little bit more time talking about his long journey, because he's been in WWE now for, a decade. So I felt like that would have been very enjoyable. But, for the most part, his speech was fine. It was what it was, but it could have been a little bit longer if they had given more time. But anyway, they talked about how it was time for the Bloodline to get this work, and then Roman and company came to the ring. Roman got a really big pop, right? And like I said, I tweeted out right away, why the hell are we giving away this match on free TV? But of course, you know, later we would find out about the whole thing with the triple threat match. This was a really enjoyable match to start the show, right? The only thing I would say is, of course, there was the commercial break. Like, if they didn't have the commercial break, this would have been probably a higher graded match in my opinion. But I really enjoyed the match for the most part. You know, this should have been on pay per view. This should have been on pay per view. On pay per view, you want to get the what's it called? You want to get the commercial breaks. That was the only thing here. But Kofi, Biggie, and Xavier took control, attacking Jay at the beginning of this match, right? But later on, we saw Roman Reigns turn the tables by taking Kofi and tossing him over the announce table. I don't know. Usually that's supposed to be a disqualification, because Roman wasn't the legal man, but whatever, right? I guess when you're the tribal chief, you can do whatever the hell you want. But we came back from commercial, and we saw that the heels were in control. So we saw that Biggie got the hot tag, and the crowd really went off here, right? And then we saw there was a really good interaction with him and Roman. Him and Biggie and Roman, man. You know, that should be one of the main events for Survivor Series, as long as Roman and Biggie remain champion. And I don't see any reason why Biggie and Roman wouldn't be champions still by the time Survivor Series comes around. But those two went at it, and I love seeing Biggie toss Roman around the ring easily without any effort. So all of a sudden, we saw as Biggie, Kofi, and the Usos were down at ringside, we saw Xavier and Roman in the ring. I was like, oh, I know how this is going to end. But before it could end in the predictable route, we saw Bobby Lashley come out. Of course, he was angry about losing the WWE Championship. He attacked all four men, right? He speared Biggie through a barricade at ringside. And I was like, how is this not a disqualification? The ref did not disqualify, anybody here. I was like, are there just no rules anymore? Like, what the fuck's going on? So after the attack, Woods was distracted looking at Bobby Lashley, and then he ran into a spear. Of course, Roman wasn't going to lose, so Roman gets another victory here. So Roman comes to Monday Night Raw, and he gets a victory to open the show. His first of two victories on the night. So after the match, before Roman could celebrate his victory, Lashley flattened Roman with a huge spear, which the fans went wild for, because the fans didn't really see Lashley spearing Roman. They thought Lashley would just go to the back. But then after that, Lashley stood tall, and then he walked to the GM's office to demand a match with Roman and Big E. All right, anyway. Next up, like I said, as great as this match was, it was just predictable, bro. It was predictable that Roman was gonna win, and it was just predictable that WWE would just go down this route. It really like why? You didn't have to give away a match like this on free TV, And it's just like, you guys gotta also realize Biggie lost twice tonight. Biggie lost twice. He lost in that 6-man tag to open the show, and then he also lost in the triple threat match. This is your WWE champion in his first night on his show as WWE champion. Remember, because Biggie's the WWE champion on Raw. Raw is supposed to be his ground, and he lost twice to Roman Reigns tonight. There's not going to be a lot of podcasters that mention that. But look, that's a problem. That's a problem, like it or not. And then I see my boy Anthony in the chat. This show sucks. What else were you expecting, bro? You expected me to come say the show was good? Come on. So anyway, we gone from even though look, All right, as much as I hate the booking, the opening match was exciting. Okay, but we went from that to something that doesn't make any sense, and I'm just like, why is Eva Marie still fucking employed? Look, it's not even like I can't even get mad anymore about it because I'm just like, why? It doesn't even. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's really what goes through my head now. Like, what the fuck? We got Doudrop and Eva Marie again, again. Look, bro, we've already seen Doudrop beat Eva Marie on multiple occasions, and we know that Eva can't fucking wrestle. Why are you giving this? I understand sometimes you need segments to, to calm the crowd a little bit, and you kind of use it as more of a transition point, something quick, right? But this is not it. Nobody wants to see Eva Marie on television. She can't fucking wrestle. Why is she employed? You release Ruby Soho, who's about to have probably the best women's match of the week. I'm willing to bet Ruby Soho and Britt Baker will probably put on a better match than Becky and Bianca at Extreme Rules. I really do think that. I think Ruby and Britt it's gonna be the best women's match of the week, right? You release someone like Ruby Soho, who had all the tools to be women's champion in your company, and you never used her. And then you have Eva Marie on the roster that can't even do a fucking proper wrestle hold. Like these are the things I think about. I'm just like, why is she here? Why is she signed? Did you really sign her back for this? For this? This is atrocious TV. There's no business for this to be on TV at all. So, uh, so Eva took the mic before the match even began and took cheap shots at Doudrop, talking about her physique, right? And talked about how she's a real woman, blah blah blah, all this nonsense. So this got Doudrop pissed, and then Doudrop spent like a good minute chasing Eva around the ring, right? So then Doudrop finally was able to get her hands on Eva, deliver the slam, a senton, and a big splash for the pinfall victory. The match only lasted like 2-3 minutes, and that was that. Hopefully, praying that this is the last we see of Eva Marie and Doudrop on Raw. Because I don't understand why this rivalry's still going. Doudrop's beaten Eva Marie now like 3 times. There's no point in this rivalry. There's nothing of value, nothing of substance here. There's nothing here. So why are you wasting our time to make us sit through this garbage? I really don't understand it. Doudrop, move her on to something else. I don't know. Have Doudrop feud with, I don't know, Shayna Baszler or something. I don't know. Right? Doudrop actually has some potential. She's not bad in the ring. I wish they would change her name back to Piper Niven, but she's not bad. She can actually fit into some things on this show. Eva, I don't know why she's employed. I really don't understand why she's getting paid to do what she does. She has nothing of value, and she is an absolute embarrassment. She is an insult to professional wrestling every single time she steps into that ring. No idea why she's signed. No idea why she's there. No idea why she's there at all. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I don't know. But, that was that. I pray that next week I'll get a notification that Eva Marie has been released from WWE, right? But, I know that's not going to happen. So, disgusting. Gregory says, I like Roman, but his stance suck. I think he could be bigger than The Rock. His stance sucks. Think he could be bigger than The Rock, who is the biggest movie star in the world. What the hell? Are we back? We good? Or it looks like we're good. I don't know. For some reason I look and then like it just like the stream just cut out like or my laptop disconnected from the internet here. I have no idea what was happening. So hopefully everything's all right now. I was about to say like what the hell's going on? Let me just check to see. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'll make sure that you guys didn't really miss out on me saying anything important. All right. Thank you guys in the chat for checking. You guys are great. Doudrop, move her on to something else. I don't know. Have disgusting. Anyway, let's get back. Okay, we're good. Let's get back to Monday Night Raw. And Junior, you went to the show tonight? Come on, man. Like, why are you wasting money on Monday Night Raw? Why? Come on, bro. You're better than that. Go to an AEW show when they're in town. Don't give money to that dumbass Vince. He doesn't deserve it. Anyway, moving on. We had Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, right? And Orton was, trying to get back on his winning ways after losing his WWE Championship match to Bobby Lashley last week before Big E cashed in. And before the match, of course, Randy and Riddle had a backstage segment. Usually their usual, right? Riddle talks about something, and then Orton just sits there. I really love the dynamic between these two. And I said this on Twitter. I think Randy Orton is more over. Remember, Orton's a Hall of Famer, right? Orton's a future Hall of Famer. We know that, without a doubt. One of the best, one of the greatest WWE superstars, ever. We know how great Randy Orton is. But I think Randy Orton is more over than ever now because of the chemistry he has with Riddle. Man, like I don't know, I don't remember. When was the last time I seen Randy Orton this over? I know he spent the last couple years being a heel, but even in the years that he's been babyface, like in the past, like 2011 and 2015, right? I don't remember Orton being this over. He is over right now. Like you could say Orton's one of the top baby faces in the company based off popularity. He is really, really over with the crowd. These last couple weeks, I've been like the crowd is chanting Orton, man. And it looks like Orton's is having a lot of fun in that ring right now. The chemistry between him and Matt Riddle. I say this all the time. Matt Riddle is one of those NXT guys that's found a lot of success on the main roster. There's been so many NXT guys that have been buried, fell into catering, not used, or ended up being released, right? Matt Riddle is one of the only NXT guys that has been able to find some sustained success on the main roster and has actually kind of broke through that ceiling. And I'm happy to see Matt Riddle succeed on the main roster because the guy is great. He's fantastic. So we see Orton and Styles, and the thing about it is, as great, this was a really good match, and you knew it was going to be a good match. Orton and Styles, they never fail to not deliver. The thing is, we've seen this match a lot as of late. Orton and Styles have faced off a lot over the years. Remember, they faced off at WrestleMania a couple years back. They've had rivalries on SmackDown. And they faced off a lot on Raw this year alone. So it's just like, it's getting kind of repetitive. Yeah, Styles and Orton can't really put on a bad match. But it's also like, come on, you can do better. It's repetitive. It's the rematches. You're always giving us rematch after rematch after rematch. And as great as this match was, as enjoyable as this match was, it was just like, we've seen it so many times. Like, can we get something different? Can we get something fresh? Like, come on. Honestly, this feud between RK Bro and Styles and Almas should be over. I don't know really why we're still even getting it on WWE TV. So, that was a little thing for me here, man. But So we get this match here, and like I said, it's repetitive because we've seen it so many times. It was still really enjoyable. So we saw. I'll move towards the second half here. We saw that almost tried to trip Randy Orton up and then the referee saw it, and the referee threw almost from ringside. So, but this allowed Styles to hit. This allowed Styles to hit Orton with a forearm. So then, after the commercial break, Orton capitalized on Styles eating the middle turnbuckle. He delivered him with a big uppercut in the corner. Then Styles went after Orton's knee. Then Orton went with a snap power slam. Right. So Orton, and this was great. The ending of this match was great. Right. So Styles goes for what looks like the phenomenal forearm, but Orton, was going to try to turn into an RKO, and we've actually seen Orton counter an RKO, or Orton counter a phenomenal forearm into an RKO in the past. We've seen it. Like I said, we've seen Orton and Styles in the ring many times over the last couple of years. So Styles got faked out, and then you see Orton and Styles pointing at each other, kind of like that Spider-Man meme you guys see all the time, where Spider-Man, like, you have the two animated Spider-Mans, looking like basically looking at mere copies of one another. That's what it was. You see Orton and Styles copy each other, but Orton went right back on the attack. He hit Styles with the spike DDT, and then went right into the RKO for the victory. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. Like I said, Orton is over more than he's ever been. He is on fire right now. And so he got the big pinfall victory. So this was a good match. As much as I hate rematches, man, I did enjoy this match a lot. But I do want Orton and I want both teams to move on to something else. I really want to see RK Bro face off against a new tag team and have a new challenger going forward. Gregory says Randy is more mainstream over than Roman. My sisters and brother-in-laws know who Randy is, and they don't know who Roman is. Well, look, man, that's the difference. Orton's been around for 20 years. Orton's a WWE Hall of Famer. Roman's a star, but still, there's not many stars in that company who are more mainstream than Orton. The guy's he's a WWE legend. There's so many people that know who Randy Orton is just because of the RKO. Remember a couple years ago with the out of nowhere memes, when everyone was making those out of nowhere videos, right? Orton is very, very known just because of the RKO itself. So when you say Randy's more mainstream than Roman Reigns, that doesn't surprise me. There's very, very few superstars in that company that are more mainstream than Randy Orton. Very, very few. So that doesn't really surprise me. Orton's a legend. Come on. But so like I said, I would have RK Bro move on to somebody else. I'm tired of the Styles and Almas thing. As good as this was, I was just like, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. We've seen enough of these. I don't like. You guys know I hate when WWE pushes something past its expiration date. So next up, we had Shayna Baszler versus Nia Jax. This was a clash of two former tag team partners, right? Corey Graves tried to really hype this up on commentary, talking about how Shayna and Nia were one of the most dominant tag teams in history. Like, slow your fucking roll here, all right? Shayna and Nia, yes, they were pretty dominant, but that was because WWE had no other women's tag teams really built up to face them. After Shayna and Nia took those tag team titles from Sasha and Bayley, there was nobody else really for them to face. Remember, they were facing against like Lana and what was it? Was it Asuka, or who was it? Lana and Naomi. That's what it was. They're facing Lana and Naomi. And remember, during the pandemic, they had Nia put Lana through a table for like 7-8 weeks straight. All the other tag teams didn't matter. They didn't matter at all. So it wasn't like Nia and Shayna were having these great tag team matches with anybody. Like, they were dominant because there was nobody else built up to face them. Nobody credible at all. Their best match was against Sasha and Bayley, when Sasha Bayley put Shayna over to win those tag titles. So So like Corey Graves, I had to point out the bullshit, man. I had to come on here and make sure to get that bullshit out of the way. Like, come on, man. Like, no, no. Then they had a whole video package here with Shayna and Nia talking about their relationship, right? And how, the ups and downs, all the arguments that led to these two turning on one another. So they had this match tonight, and this match was very very quick. I was surprised at how quick they actually did it. I thought WWE was going to try to drag this out for about 10-15 minutes, but this was actually less than 5 minutes. This was very very quick. So Nia had control early. She talked shit about how easy it was for her to use her power against Shayna, but then Shayna turned into high gear, and then Shayna hit some really really stiff kicks here on Nia. You know, some very very stiff kicks. I haven't seen Shayna that offensive in a while, and it was good to see Shayna bring out that MMA side of her again. Really good to see that because WWE has not allowed her to be that on the main roster. They haven't allowed Shayna to be like herself at all. This reminded me of NXT Shayna. So Shayna hit Nia with some very very stiff kicks, and then she put Nia in the Carafita clutch, and the referee had to stop it because Nia passed out. But after the match, Baszler went on another attack. She stomped Nia's hand and wrist in the steel steps, and then did a bent arm stomp. And then Shayna, just looked at Nia screaming in agony. I hated the way Nia was screaming here. Nia was screaming out of her mind. I was just like, okay, I understand you're trying to sell the attack here, but also I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, there's no stop screaming like you're like a 5-year-old child. There's a way to scream and there's a way not to scream. So I did not like how Nia was just screaming here. This was a great attack by Shayna because, like I said, it reminded me of NXT Shayna. And I'm hoping this is going to lead to a Shayna Plus going forward because Shayna is just way too good to be booked the way she has been the last year and a half. Way too good. And I don't need to go on and, talk about all the ways that WWE has failed Shayna Baszler when it comes to her booking because you guys have heard me bitch and moan about it for the last year and a half. But look, man, with the way Shayna took out Nia tonight, I'm hoping it's the start of a push for her. Because Shayna should never have been even wasting time teaming with Nia in that tag team division. Shayna should have been going after singles championship. She should have held the Raw Women's Championship at least once at this point. So, this leads to a little push for her, right? Hey, if Alexa ends up winning the Raw Women's Championship, against Charlotte this Sunday at Extreme Rules, Shayna would be the perfect one to be built up to take that title from Alexa. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. So we'll see where this goes. It was good to see a little bit of NXT Shayna back, but hopefully this means better things going forward, right? Someone says Nia is all elite. Get the hell out of here. Like, why the fuck would anybody ever want to sign Nia Jax? Get out of here. But I am interested. Why did WWE? Because this is clearly an injury angle with Nia Jax. I don't know. Like, I haven't heard any reports of Nia being released or anything like that. But are you turning Nia babyface? I don't want to see that again. But it will be interesting to see where this goes with Nia. Well, like, what are they doing here? Because this should keep her off TV for a little while. But so, man, it was good to see a little of NXT Shayna back, and hopefully this actually means something for Shayna going forward, and they don't just, leave her at the wayside and not use her. She is too damn good not to be used on that show. Way too good. Way too good. She should be fighting for the Raw Women's Championship, but we'll see what happens with Shayna going forward. But it was good to see a little bit of old Shayna here tonight. Next up, we had Mustafa Ali. I almost said Mufasa, but we had Mustafa Ali and Mansoor versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. And Angel Garza, I tweeted this out right away. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo make 100% sense as a tag team. I actually really, really like this move. Really, really like this. Garza and Humberto have both not been used correctly on Monday Night Raw. Both of them have not been used. They both had singles runs. Angel Garza, he was with Selena Vega and Andrade back when Andrade was still in the company. That didn't work out very well. He tried a little bit of a singles run, but they just never really did anything with him. And Humberto, don't get me started on him. You guys know the drill with Humberto. The guy has been an absolute jobber on Monday Night Raw. He's been a jobber, no matter if it was against Seth Rollins or earlier this year with Sheamus. Humberto's been a flat-out jobber ever since he's been on Monday Night Raw. But Garza and Humberto, per storyline, they're family, and they both have similar styles in the ring. So they make perfect sense. This is a tag team pairing that actually makes sense. We complain about tag team pairings that don't make sense, a la Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax and Italian Tamina, but this one actually makes sense on multiple levels. So I'm actually happy here. I'm actually very happy that WWE made this move. I say this all the time. If you have single stars that are not being used correctly, instead of sticking them in catering, WWE could use all the tag teams they can get right now. Put them in tag teams. That would make sense. And this is one that actually makes sense. So I'm happy WWE made this rule. Or made this. Right? So they went up against Mansoor and Mustafa Ali, another tag team that I really like. And Carrillo and Garza dominated this match. They dominated, right? Garza sent Ali face first into the ring pose. Then Carrillo applied a bridging neck vice, and Garza added a dropkick to the face, and to get the victory for the team. And the one thing I really liked here is Humberto's aggression, because remember, Humberto's been a babyface for all his time on Raw. Now it looks like him and Garza are gonna be a heel tag team, and I like that. I like that. I like the aggressiveness that Humberto showed. And this is something I can actually really get behind. Look, if you want to build these two up to potentially challenge RK Bro maybe at some point, I'm not saying they should be the ones to take the Raw Tag Team Championships off RK Bro, but if you want to build them up to potentially, at least feud with them for a couple matches, look, I think that would be fine. I like that. I really, really do like this team. They have great intensity. Their characters make sense. I love it. Who knows? Now that I think about it, maybe have Humberto and Garza feud with the Viking Raiders. Maybe that would be a good feud for them. Help get them established, and then slowly you can move them up the ranks. You can have them go after, maybe Asian Amas, maybe the New Day, right? And then eventually at some point they challenge RK Bro. So I like this new team, and I think they can work really well if WWE, wants to book them correctly. This could be a very, very exciting heel tag team in that Raw tag team division, and we'll see where it goes over in the future. I hope they don't just get forgotten. I hope they just don't get forgotten. Raw actually has a decent tag team division. You have Mason T-Bar. You have now this new team with Carrillo and Garza. You have the New Day there, of course. You have RK Bro as your champions. You have the Viking Raiders. You have Mansoor and Ali. You have teams there. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a good tag team division. No reason. This is a really good addition, and we'll see what happens. But there's no reason why Raw can't have a good tag team division. They have the teams. Just book them in proper storylines now. That's all we're asking. It's not that difficult. But we'll see what happens with Carrillo and Mansoor going forward. Next up, Next up, we had the women's tag team championship match between Natalya and Tamina and Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross. Look, first thing I gotta say here. Are Tegan Nox and Sachi Blackheart ever gonna get their women's tag team championship opportunity? Like I don't like bringing it up, but it's an insult to my intelligence when they beat Tamina and Natalia basically 3 separate times and they never got their tag team championship opportunity. Like, don't insult our intelligence here. Ripley and Nikki Cross have been teaming for what, 3 weeks? And Tegan and Shotzi have been on SmackDown for nearly 2 months. And they beat Natalia and Tamina on 3 separate occasions and still haven't gotten their tag team championship opportunity. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to keep bringing it up until it happens. Even if, Natalia and Tamina are not the champions anymore. It still doesn't make any sense. Okay? But, look. That's the first thing I'm going to mention. Second, so Nikki and Rhea, they came out before the match. And basically, the gist of this was that they were going to dedicate their tag team match tonight for Connor's Cure. And that made it pretty obvious that Rhea and Nikki were going to win. They were like, there's no way that it was going to have them lose after making a bold declaration like that. Especially knowing WWE's relationship with Connor's Cure. But Rhea gave like a weird promo here, right? Nikki, it's sometimes hard to understand her because she has an accent. Plus, English isn't her first language, but she does her best. Rhea here, I don't know. I don't know if she just forgot her lines, right? Or if like she was just getting emotional because of the moment. But Rhea was really struggling here with this promo talking about Connor's Cure and explaining what it was. Nikki tried to help her through it, but you could tell Rhea was having a tough time. So I don't know what was going on here with Rhea Ripley. If she was just, just forgot her lines or something, or if something else just caused her to get, very emotional, and then I don't know. But that was very, very obvious here. So then we got the match. In this match, there was nothing special about this match at all. The match sucked. The match really, really sucked. So Ripley got sent to the floor from Natalya, and then Nikki was basically by herself. So Tamina went for a top rope splash, but Nikki got her knees up. Then Ripley got back into the ring, and then Nikki scored the win by roll up to win the titles for her team. This didn't feel special at all. It didn't feel like, because they've only been teaming now for less than a month. They've been teaming with each other since SummerSlam, and now they're tag team champions. I'm just sitting there like, what? Really? There was no story here. There was no build up. Ripley and Nikki just randomly decided to team up a couple weeks ago, and now here they are as women's tag team champions. This is a pairing that doesn't make sense. I don't know if WWE's just trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice like they did with Orton and Riddle and RK Bro. Because that was like, no one expected RK Bro to become as popular as they did. Right? Nobody did. And RK Bro is amazing. I love them. But I don't feel any of that same excitement for Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley. I don't feel that excitement at all. I don't feel really anything special about them. They don't make sense as a tag team at all. Nothing about them makes sense as a tag team. They don't have any attire. They don't have any music. They have nothing. They're separate. It's just another pairing that WWE put together, and now all of a sudden they're women's tag team champions. This is the problem with the women's tag division. You have random pairings that don't make sense, and you don't even know how to book the division correctly. Like I just said, Tegan and Shotzi have been teaming together way longer, and they still haven't got their tag team championship opportunity when they beat Natalya and Tamina on multiple occasions. And now you have Nikki and Rhea as champion. What are they going to do? What, you're going to have them have a rematch with Natalya and Tamina probably? What are they going to do after that? There's no other teams that are built up to face them. Outside of Tegan Nox and Sachi Blackheart, I guess if you want to count Carmella and Zelina Vega as a team, I don't know. There's nobody built up to face Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. So it's like the mismanaging of the women's tag division baffles my mind. It's like I'm sitting here baffled. I'm just like, whoa, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense here. So I don't know. But Ripley and Nikki ASH winning the women's tag team championships tonight. Nothing felt special about it at all. It felt like so random, so much nonsense. It's just like, wow, like what are we actually doing here? You know? So Ripley and Nikki Cross are the new women's tag champions, but let's be honest, nobody really cares. Where did they go from here? Who knows? Who knows? Like we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, moving on, we had Charlotte Flair on Alexa's playground, and this was surprisingly an actual decent segment, if you ask me. This was a decent segment. I'm gonna look on YouTube real quick, see if I can find the clip for you guys. But yeah, it's rare, right? It's rare for me to be sitting here saying that that Charlotte Flair of all people had a good promo segment. When do you ever get that? When do you ever get those words out of my mouth, right? Usually I'm just sitting here complaining about how much of a fucking robot Charlotte is. But I'll give her credit. This was actually not a bad segment here with her and Alexa. Both made good points. And I really do think the pressure is on Alexa Bliss this Sunday. I really do think the pressure is on for her to deliver in a good match with Charlotte. Really. But let me see if I can find the clip. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here we go.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read.
I want Alexa Bliss. I want the old Alexa Bliss back. I want the 5 Feet of Fury. I want the Mean Girl. I want the Once Upon a Time championship material. But here's the thing, you can fool everyone here, you can fool everyone at home, but you can't fool me. Because you want to know what all of this is? This is a pathetic attempt to hide how fragile, how delicate you really are. You know you're broken, I know you're broken. We both know that's why you hide behind this playground. The doll, the dress, the pigtails, that nasty, nasty, nasty black lipstick. Please wipe it off. You used to walk to this ring with a title in your arm. Now you walk to the ring with a doll in your arm. How does it feel that the doll is more popular than you? So now that we're talking about the old Alexa, here's the thing. The only reason that you were champion in the past is because I was on SmackDown, you were on Raw, vice versa. But now that we're both on Raw, I find your mind games to be a joke.
Okay, here's the first thing here. First thing I gotta say. Charlotte looks fucking disgusting. I'm sorry. I don't know who picked that outfit out for Charlotte. She wants to sit here and talk about Alexa's lipstick, whatever. But look, Charlotte, bro. Like look, that outfit is terrible. I think it's the hair. Like, I don't know what she was thinking when whoever her hairstylist is, but that shit looks gross. Like, actually looks gross. I'm looking at Charlotte here, I want to throw up. Like, honestly, I want to throw up. And I'm wanting to point out beauty when it's there. There's nothing appealing here about Charlotte. Like, I'm actually, like, nauseating. Like, this is blah, blah. That's what I'm thinking about, blah. Like, look, bro, gross. Fucking gross. Look at that Charlotte here, man. What the hell?
But the one mind game that I can't comprehend is how did I go from main eventing WrestleMania 35 to Monday Night Raw playing with dolls?
First of all, Charlotte, you never deserved to main event WrestleMania in the fucking first place. I hate when she brings up this crap. Really. We all know Charlotte never deserved to be in a WrestleMania main event. Right? In the main event that you were in is not even the best women's WrestleMania main event of all time. It's Sasha and Bianca by a landmine. So still, nobody gives a fuck, Charlotte. No one cares. I will say the good thing that from Charlotte's promo here, because Charlotte does talk for a while, the good thing that Charlotte said here, is when she was talking about the old Alexa Bliss, right? And look, I'm not a fan of the old Alexa Bliss. I was never a fan of the Goddess. You guys know, for those of you guys who've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, if you guys were here back in the day, I went on some crazy rants talking about Alexa Bliss as the Goddess. I hated Alexa Bliss as the Goddess because she was shoved down our throats. Remember when she was a 5-time women's champion in like a 2-3 year span? When they gave her these long ass Raw Women's Championship reigns. And I absolutely hated them because she wasn't that good in the ring. You guys know, I think Alexa is very overrated in the ring. Right? That's why I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Alexa Bliss going into this Sunday at Extreme Rules. Because this is her chance in this big match against Charlotte Flair. I've told you guys already, I remember when I met Alexa Bliss at a meet and greet, she told me that her best match ever was against Charlotte at Survivor Series. Even though I think her best match was against Sasha Banks at SummerSlam 2017. But whatever, it's her opinion, it's her career, right? I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Alexa to deliver this Sunday. Really is. But, Charlotte talking about it, Charlotte making some good points. Even though I felt like Alexa Bliss as the Goddess was overrated, still, that's when Alexa was having the most success in her career. And we know it was also because Vince loves blondes, and Vince has that whole blonde agenda, but Charlotte's making some sense here. Right? Charlotte's actually making some sense here with some of the points she's making.
Alexa Bliss. I want the old Alexa Bliss back. I want the 5 Feet of Fury. I want the Mean Girl. I want the Once Upon a Time championship material. But here's the thing.
I don't know if Alexa really was ever championship material. I feel like Alexa was only champion just because, like I just said, because Vince shoved her down our throats with his blonde agenda, but whatever. We're talking about storyline here. Right? And what Charlotte's saying actually makes sense from a storyline perspective.
You can fool everyone here, you can fool everyone at home, but you can't fool me. Because you want to know what this here, shit material. But here's the thing, you can fool championship material. But here's the thing, you can fool everyone here, you can fool everyone at home, but you can't fool You can fool everyone here, you can fool everyone at home, but you can't fool me. Because you want to know what you can fool everyone at home, but you can't fool me. Because you want to know what all of this is? This is a pathetic attempt to hide how we're all playing with dolls. But here's the thing, I get it. All of this is all a desperate cry for help. So I'm going to make it my job to beat the sense back into you. So, do you want me to do that tonight? Or do you want me to wait till this Sunday at Extreme Rules?
Oh my gosh, Charlotte, we get it. You're the best. You're the champ. You're in your own league. No one can reach Charlotte. Do you not get sick and tired of hearing it like the rest of us do? We get it. I don't need to play mind games with you to expose your insecurities. They're stamped right on your forehead. You are just so terrified of the Raw Women's Championship moving on without you, leaving you here with nothing. I mean, what would you do? If you didn't have a title, how would you act? What would you say to these people out here?
Look, Alexa's actually making a valid point. I say this shit all the time. What would Sasha Banks without a championship is still relevant. Sasha Banks is not on TV, right now because he's not in the SmackDown Women's Championship picture because right now it's focused on Becky and Bianca. I'm hoping Sasha comes back after Extreme Rules because Sasha's way too damn good to be on the sidelines this long. We may never find out why Sasha was taken out of SummerSlam, but Sasha, even when she's not champion, is still one of the biggest stars in the company. We always care about what Sasha's doing inside and outside the ring. We don't give a shit about Charlotte when she's not champion. Unless you're a Charlotte Flair fan, I don't see anybody ever asking what Charlotte's doing. What's the point of fucking Charlotte? Nobody gives a shit about Charlotte when she's not champion. And yet, she's shoved down our throats over and over and over again. And the thing about, what Alexa's saying here is facts. What would Charlotte do if she wasn't champion? No one would give a shit about her. It's because she's been shoved down our throats for so long. So long that people are so used to her being champion. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. It's mind-blowing to me. If Alexa wins this Sunday, you think Alexa's holding on to that championship that long? No. Charlotte's going to regain it at the next fucking pay-per-view. It's an endless cycle. We've been forced to deal with it for so fucking long. We don't know what WWE is like without Charlotte. We don't know what a women's division is like without Charlotte. Because Charlotte is always champion when she's there. The only time Charlotte's not champion is when she's either getting breast surgery or she's been injured. Come on. So even if you don't like Alexa here, see, at least she's making some valid points. They're making valid points on both sides. Look, I am not a fan of either one of these women. I'd rather watch Alexa Bliss than Charlotte Flair any day of the week. Fuck Charlotte. But still, at least from a storyline perspective, what they're saying makes sense here. It actually makes sense.
I didn't give you Charlie to play mind games. I gave you Charlie as a pity gift. Because I pity you. Because even a narcissistic, self-centered like you deserves happiness.
Oh my gosh, who is Charlotte Flair without the championship?
Oh my gosh. Pitiful. Pitiful.
Well, good for you, Alexa. You're never gonna find out.
There was actually a line here that they to be cut, right? And it was talking about being original. Alexa said that Charlotte is does the whole woo thing and doesn't even belong to her. Clearly it belongs to her father, Ric Flair. Well, Charlotte said, don't get me started about being original, or originality, something like that. And, clearly that was mentioned to The Fiend and Bray Wyatt. And it's almost become a theme on this podcast when we're talking about Alexa and, her continual use of the Fiend character kind of with Bray Wyatt no longer there. But look here, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of either one of these women, really. I'd rather watch Alexa Bliss than Charlotte because fuck Charlotte, right? But look, at least from a promo line, the story here is kind of interesting, right? It's kind of interesting. I don't really care for that much, but if I'm being honest here, taking my personal feelings aside, the story here, these two have good chemistry on the mic. This wasn't a terrible segment. It wasn't. But I will say it again. There is a bunch of pressure on Alexa Bliss this Sunday at Extreme Rules. Not pressure to win the championship. I'm talking about to deliver. Because I've said this before. How many truly great Alexa Bliss matches has Alexa had in her career? Not many. Right? There's probably less than 5. Maybe even less. Who knows? But I always say Alexa's best match was against Sasha Banks at SummerSlam 2017. But I feel like Alexa has a lot of pressure to deliver this Sunday. Because Alexa said in interviews, I remember this to this day, Alexa said in interviews that, a lot of the moves that she could do in a wrestling ring she doesn't get to do because she was a heel for so many years. Well, Alexa, you have a big championship match this Sunday. I'm not sitting here looking for you to do your normal the Fiend tricks, right? The little magic tricks that you stole from the Fiend. I'm not looking for that. I want to see you wrestle on Sunday. Prove to me that you're as good as everyone says you are, right? Prove it. Prove it. Go give me a great match with Charlotte on Sunday. Give it to me. I'm not gonna. I don't care about Charlotte, right? Love Charlotte, hate Charlotte. You know what you're gonna get from her in the ring, right? You're gonna get the same moonsault garbage. Like you know what you're gonna get from Charlotte in the ring, right? The pressure's on Alexa Bliss. Deliver. If WWE gives them the time, 10 to 15 minutes this Sunday at Extreme Rules, go give us a great match, Alexa. This is your chance to prove it. This is your chance to prove it. But Alexa also said in this promo that on Sunday you'll be calling me champ, and that was whatever. And these two start brawling.
Coming on, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for interest. Here is the Raw Women's Champion. Oh!
Alexa hit Charlotte with a spike DDT.
Shots fired all. It ends the same way it began, with the Queen, with the opportunity, with the Raw Women's Champion doing exactly what she does best.
I'll also say this one last time. During this segment, there's a lot of people cheering Charlie. They were cheering, of course, the doll that Alexa made for Charlotte. Look, there's grown men, and Anthony tells me this all the time, and I agree with him. There's grown men that buy this doll. What the fuck are y'all doing, man? The fact that grown men are out there at WWE shows cheering a doll, y'all weird. This is why wrestling fans get a bad rep. Really. Wrestling fans are fucking weird. All right. But like I said, the pressure's on Alexa this Sunday. Pressure is on Alexa this Sunday. We'll see if she delivers. I don't know if she will, right? But pressure is on Alexa to deliver. This is your chance, Alexa. Go give us a big match. Go give us a big match. Let me look at the wrestling real quick. Edward, why did you change your name to King Wrestling? You thought I wouldn't notice that? Edward changed his name to King Wrestling. What does that mean? Like, come on. But he says the Becky Lynch heel turn has failed. I'm not going to say Becky's heel turn has failed, but, I have thoughts on it. And I'll definitely do a video at some point talking about it. Let's see what happens with Becky and Bianca this Sunday at Extreme Rules first. But I have a lot of interesting thoughts on Becky's heel turn. Let me look in the chat. I love Seagull. Vader says I would choose Nia Jax over Charlotte. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Brother. Like, I hate Charlotte just like you, but I don't know if I would pick Nia Jax over fucking Charlotte. Like, Oh, and people, yes, the Dark Side of the Ring episode with Ric Flair. There's been a lot of talk about that. I'm not gonna get into it. I have my own personal thoughts on it, but I'm not gonna get into it on this podcast. No, I don't think this would be the best place for that kind of conversation. But yeah, like I said, we'll see. Right, we'll see. I'll say this. Anthony texts me again. He says, "Let's not talk about originality, please." Yes, sir. Oh my gosh. Anthony texted me. Actually, texted me. Let's not talk about originality, please. Yes, Charlotte. Oh my gosh. And Anthony cheering a Charlotte promo. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Anthony's going crazy about the originality line given from Charlotte. That's hilarious right there. Fucking hilarious. Anyway, but yeah, but my prediction, I'll just give it right now. I do think Charlotte. I do think, Alexa's gonna win on Sunday. That is my prediction. I do think Alexa will win the Raw Women's Championship on Sunday. I don't see many titles changing hand. So I think Alexa's going to win on Sunday, and then they're probably going to use this and have Charlotte just regain the championship a couple months later or weeks later, because that's what they do. Charlotte's the queen of short title reigns, and it's disgusting. And you know how WWE wants to give Charlotte that title reign record. But I think that's what's most likely going to happen. I think Alexa's probably going to win on Sunday. If not, they're probably going to push, or they're going to keep this feud going for at least another month. But right now, I would say Alexa probably wins and becomes the Raw Women's Champion again at Extreme Rules. Next up, this didn't make any sense. Another dreadful rematch. This doesn't make sense. All right, so we had Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, a match we've seen multiple times before, right? And here's the thing. If Hardy won this match, he would be added into the United States Championship match between Sheamus and Damian Priest, which is set for this Sunday at Extreme Rules. Well, first off, two things I have a problem here with. What has Jeff Hardy fucking done to be in the United States title picture? Before, last week, we got Damian Priest and Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship on Monday Night Raw. And, it didn't make any sense because Hardy had not done anything to earn a United States Championship opportunity. They just gave it to you just to give it to you. Right? And it was a good match, but Hardy had done nothing to even deserve to be in the title picture at that point. The guy was going after the 24/7 championship the week before. A fucking future Hall of Famer. You weren't doing anything with Hardy during the summer months. So now, but now you're telling me he deserves to be in the United States title picture. So, not only did it not make any sense for him to get a United States Championship match last week against Damian Priest, but now he's fighting to get a pay-per-view match that he has done nothing to earn a right to be in? What are we doing here? What sense are we making? So you have Hardy in this match, and the second thing is, you saw how great a match Sheamus and Priest gave at SummerSlam. And people are excited for this rematch because they know that they can even have a better match than what they did at SummerSlam. So now you're risking that. You're just throwing that all away and adding Hardy to the mix, who doesn't even deserve to be in it. Why did they feel the need to change the United States title match? Why did they feel the need to add Jeff Hardy in here now? Right? When it was fine with Sheamus and Priest before. This is the thing with WWE. They go making these big changes that don't need to happen. This is actually something I was fine with. I had no problem with Hardy and Sheamus having I had no problem with Sheamus and Priest having a rematch at Extreme Rules. It was going to be another great match, another show stealer, another barn burner. But now you're getting Hardy involved here, and it's like Hardy's done nothing to be there. They're just force feeding him in there. It's just like, why? What do you want? Why are we doing this? So we get this match here. We had Priest at ringside on commentary. So we see Hardy, at some point, Hardy hit Sheamus in the nose, and then Sheamus had blood spilling into his beard, right? So that Sheamus was able to keep fighting, which I love about Sheamus. It doesn't matter if you break his nose, no matter if he's all bloody, no matter if he has a black eye. He keeps going. He keeps that same brutal nature about him. Love that about Sheamus. But Hardy hit Sheamus with a sunset flip and got the upset victory, right? So after the match, we see Sheamus. He confronted Damian Priest on a ring slide and blamed him for losing. Then a brawl broke out, And then we saw referees come out to pull the foes apart. So now it's a triple threat between Hardy, Sheamus, and Priest for this Sunday. I don't know why, right? I really think here that, most likely what's going to happen, Priest is probably going to pin Jeff Hardy. I feel like Hardy's just going to be here to eat a pin. And they'll probably have Priest and Sheamus face off again coming out of this match. I don't think there's any reason to believe that Hardy's going to win the title this Sunday at Extreme Rules. Sheamus, I could see Sheamus possibly regaining it, but Priest has actually been one of the only positives on this show. Him and RK Bro have probably been the only good stuff on this show as of late. So I would expect Priest to probably, unless they're sending Priest into the main event scene early, I think Priest is probably going to retain this Sunday, right? Look, I would have just done a Priest and Sheamus rematch, but now it's a triple threat, and we'll see what happens this Sunday. But my prediction is that Priest retains the United States Championship, and that will be that. That's my take on what's going on here. So moving on, we had the triple threat match to end the show, with Big E, Roman, and Bobby Lashley. This was a fantastic triple threat match to end the show. It was fantastic. Like, I didn't expect anything else from these three. These are three of the best in the company. Like, I knew this was going to be a great match. I just didn't like how we got here. No matter what you say, no matter how good the match was, I just didn't like how we got here. It did not make sense. We shouldn't have gotten this match. We should have not have gotten this match. Especially when all three men should not be fucking losing. But, I digress. I already ranted about it earlier in the show. I'm not going to rant again about it more here. But we saw Lashley and Reigns. They went after it early, but they were cutting each other off. So Reigns went for a superplex, right? Big E re-entered the scene, and then they did the high-impact tower spot. This is something you always see in these triple threat matches. Even in, like, big triple threat tag team matches, you see this. So we came back from commercial. Big E was going off on Roman, tossing him around the ring. Lashley pulled Big E out of the ring and sent him into the barricade. Then Lashley went after Reigns and hit him with a beautiful delayed vertical suplex. So then Big E hit the big ending on Reigns, which looked beautiful. But I knew there was no way they were going to let Roman get pinned on a random edition of Monday Night Raw. No way they were going to have that happen. So Lashley made the save and pulled Big E to the floor. Then he put Big E through the commentary table, right? Roman then hit Lashley with a Superman punch. Big E recovered and got back in. So then Big E speared Reigns through the ropes and delivered another big ending. But, Lashley grabbed the chair and then hit Big E multiple times. And you knew it wasn't going to cause a disqualification because it's a triple threat match. So this, and I don't think they've announced, unless something happened on WWE's social media page. Maybe somebody in the chat can let us know. But I don't think they have announced a Big E Bobby Lashley match for Extreme Rules yet. But Big E got hit with multiple chair shots from Bobby Lashley. And then while Bobby was going off on Big E, Reigns recovered, delivered a spear, and earned the win to end the show. So let me see. I'm actually interested. Let me see what Bleacher Report had to say about this match. So this is Bleacher Report's analysis, and I'll give more of my own in just a sec. But Bleacher Report says, and I quote, Reigns, Lashley, and Big E tore the house down in a superb triple threat match that featured an ending that absolutely made sense within the context of the story presented. Lashley was irate over losing the WWE Championship and understandably unleashed on Big E. His emotions got the best of him, and he took his eyes off Reigns and paid the price for it. Big E was shielded from the loss. Lashley only was defeated because he took his eye off the prize for one moment, and Reigns earned yet another quality victory that solidifies his place atop the WWE mountain. But booking a match this could backfire as fans will come to expect it. But given the wealth of talent on the roster, there is no reason the company could not give its fans something comparable every week, rather than the dull and repetitive schlock that are subject to most outings. I understand what Bleacher Report is saying here, but still, it does not make fucking sense for them to do this match. As great as it was, it's just pure desperation. And then you have Roman come on and he defeats Big E not once but twice. Yes, alright, Big E was not pinned, but he still lost. He should not be losing like that on his show when he's the top champion. Like, what about defending your home turf? You're like, come on. You know, I understand Roman's the top guy, but it's just, like, this doesn't do anything for anybody. Really. Roman's not going to lose. Who knows when's the next time Roman's going to lose a match? Big E should not be losing when he just won that championship. And Bobby Lashley, if you're building him up for a rematch for the WWE Championship, he should not be losing. It just doesn't make sense, and it comes out of pure desperation. You should be able to make a good show with the people you have on your roster and not have to force Roman Reigns, the top guy in the company, to come over the SmackDown to give you two main event matches in one night. That should not have to happen. Sure, maybe this gives Raw a big rating, right? Man, and Vince is gonna be like, oh, we should do that more often. But it just shows this pure desperation. It just shows pure desperation, and this company can do way better. You have too much talent on Raw to have to rely on a top guy from SmackDown coming over to get a rating. And if you guys don't see that, then you're just blind as hell. You're just blind as hell. And I hate being that guy, but I have to be that guy. You're blind if you don't see the problems here. You really are blind if you don't see the problems. Like, you guys got to use your heads a little more. Like still, it's just desperation. And WWE should not be doing that at this stage of the game. They should not be doing that at this stage of the game. Like, they're better than that. You're just responding to AEW, and it's sad. Yeah, this is the way WWE wants to respond to these types of things. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And even though this was I guess, I'm not gonna say enjoyable, but it was an okay show. It was an okay show, but WWE could have done a lot better here. A lot better. But anyway, that's about all I got for you guys today, man. I'm gonna end the podcast here. I want to thank you guys as always for joining me. It is actually a pay-per-view week. Believe it or not, we have a pay-per-view on Sunday, people. We have Extreme Rules on Sunday. So as always, I will be covering Extreme Rules just like I always cover every pay-per-view, right? I'm going to try to also cover AEW Dynamite. That is the plan. So, like I said, it's going to be a big week. We got SmackDown. We got AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. We have Extreme Rules at the end of the week. So, make sure you guys have notifications enabled because you never know when I'm going to go live. You never know when I'm going to post a video. So, make sure you guys are here for all of that so you guys don't miss out on any videos, man. I don't want you guys missing out on any of the good stuff. But thank you guys as always for the love and support. You guys are awesome. Make sure to hit that like button if you guys enjoy. Also have the notification button enabled. Click the bell next to my name, Fitzpunk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me down on social media. The link's in the description down below. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys later. Until then, peace.